Welcome back, Nimfam. Which Arsenal players should we be considering? And with the emergence of budget goalkeepers, which should we consider, if any? And who is the best captaincy choice ahead of Game Week 15? Here is my ultimate guide. So let's start with Arsenal. We've had 3 tasty wins, to be honest, wins that were for the taking on paper. However, we haven't been invulnerable at the back. Despite the last 3 wins against Burnley, Brentford and Wolves, we have conceded in 2 of those 3 matches, wiping out the defensive clean sheets for those of us that have defenders and for those of you who took the leap into double Arsenal defence. But with a sea of seemingly good fixtures ahead, who should we look to invest in now? It's so obvious, but if you haven't got Bukayo Saka, then this is the time. Consistency is the key with FPL, and one thing you'll get with Saka is consistency. He's had 5 goals and 7 assists this season, and he's the Arsenal talisman. He's our first choice penalty taker, with the caveat of him deciding if he wants to give the ball to someone else. But otherwise, he's just a bit of a set and forget when he is fit. Sometimes it's just about being able to pick the obvious picks, and he's just going to tick away nicely for your team. Zinchenko has been the name on a lot of lips at the moment, mainly because of his attacking returns with 1 goal and 1 assist coming in the last 3 games. I have to admit, I've been a little worried about rotation with him, but he is Arteta's first choice. He did go off early against Wolves. It may be a knock, but word on the street is that it may also be some fatigue. This could mean with the busy festive congestion period, Arteta could sneak some rest in for him in all these fixtures somewhere. So keep your ear to the ground for updates on him. It's always helpful if an attacking fullback is getting returns when you can't always bank on a clean sheet. I place Raya with Zinchenko here. Great picks as long as they play. They both look like first choice when they are fit and healthy. If you hear that Zinchenko is okay and you decide to dip into either of these 2 players, just make sure you have good bench cover just in case of injury and Arteta potentially using his squad depth in the next few weeks. Something we didn't have much of last season, so just bear that in mind. That said, Arsenal have managed 6 clean sheets this season. If you want a more nailed option, then look to the likes of Saliba and Gabriel instead. Saliba has been in my team since day 1, even before I heard about that Gabriel injury. He's always been my favourite out of the 2, and I was gutted with his injury last season. Saliba probably the more nailed defensive player out of all of the defenders at Arsenal, but I think there was a bit of an injury cover-up for Gabriel in the early days. I believe he should be good now going forward. Either of these are decent picks. I'm a little unsure on the double up though, if I'm completely honest. So Nimfam, I would love it if you could help me out. If you're enjoying this video so far, then please leave a like and share and subscribe. We're so close to 7k. It would be amazing to get there with you fabulous lot before the end of the year. Oh, and that little notification bell, that little tiny one on the YouTube channel, give that a little tickle. It'll show you when I'm updating my next FPL content. Alright, so is Everton defence worth any investment? For those of you who started the season with Pickford, you may wince at this suggestion. However, Everton do seem to have turned a corner, and in terms of budget picks, who could be some good bench fodder. As you can see, I've picked out Myelenko. He has 2 goals and 1 assist and a clean sheet in the last 4 matches. He's just 4.4 million and someone you could just sit on your bench to be called upon if needed over this festive period. I think I'd take him over a Tarkowski or Braithwaite at the moment. Braithwaite is nice at 4.1, but Botman should be back soon. So unless you're going to go with a budget goalkeeper, which I will be talking about in just a moment, then I think Botman or Taylor are probably the better picks at that price point. So with that and a plethora of injuries, we've had an emergence of some budget goalkeepers. But from where and who can we seriously consider for our FPL teams? Well, first up is Keller for Liverpool. He looks good on paper because of Liverpool's tasty fixtures. They have Sheffield United, Palace and Man United in the next 3, and whilst we don't have anything concrete on Alisson as such yet, we should at least get the next 2 or 3 fixtures out of Kelleher. Just a little wary though, as he did just concede 3 goals to Fulham, of all teams. Moving on, Pope hurt his shoulder against United on Sunday. It popped out and was popped back in again. He is feeling a lot better apparently. I would love to suggest Dubravka as a cheap 3.9 option as a second goalkeeper that's better than, say, a Turner who seems to have lost his place entirely despite his counterpart doing just as badly as him. Dubravka is probably my top pick of the three that I'm showing you, just based on the better Newcastle defence ahead of him. Just a word of caution on both of these, they will only be available until their teammates are fit again, so keep your ear out for their returns. These are punts, and just be careful that going with either Kelleher or Dubravka, if you're going for one of them, doesn't cut off your options for outfield players in the rest of your team. Those of you that seen Saka go off in the Arsenal game may have been considering Dan Bentley at his 3.9 million price tag. I'd just avoid this completely if I were you. O'Neill has suggested that Sal was just a back spasm and taken off precautionary, so I don't think Bentley's going to get much game time. If you're looking for help with your FPL team, please check out the sponsors of this video, Fantasy Football Fix, where you can follow the world's best FPL managers team reveals live. Link is in the description below. Stay tuned for early captaincy thoughts, that's coming up extremely shortly. But whilst talking about goalkeepers, I think it's time to consider dropping Johnstone, because his points have certainly dropped like a Johnstone. That's for sure. 1 clean sheet in 6 fixtures now is nothing to be proud of, and if you're an owner like me, then you'll be losing your patience with him fast. He might still be the 4th best goalkeeper for points in the game, but I am loving the look of, say, Sanchez's fixtures from game week 16. Him or Raya could be comfortable replacements if you're struggling with your goalkeeper points like I am. And is it time for Trent? Trent has scored in consecutive Premier League games for the first time in his career. Did he get 2 yesterday? I leave that one up to you. Between his attacking threat creeping back in and his 4 clean sheets of the season, 3 of them coming in the last 6 game weeks, then Trent could be back on the cards, depending on whether you trust in Kelleher or not behind him. They do, as you know, have some tasty fixtures coming up in the next 6, picking out Sheffield United, Palace and Burnley especially. The only thing that puts most of us off with Trent is his price tag of 8 million. For the most part, I've really enjoyed the price points this season in FPL, but I feel with this one, we are just off of the mark. He's gone from a difficult decision to an almost no decision, because most of us just don't want to stretch that far. It's because they wanted him to be a midfield price and a defensive spot, which is fine, but with so many mid-priced and very cheap midfielders matching or bettering Trent this season, people have not even felt tempted to go there, and he hasn't even dropped much in price. In fact, he's going up in price to allow us to get more involved with him. I think he'd be much more of a conversation for us if he was around that 7 million mark with Trippier, pitting them against each other. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. So, early captaincy thoughts for game week 15, and the standout captaincy call for me in game week 15 is Mohamed Salah against a Sheffield United side who just conceded 5 goals to target Burnley. I mean, what more do you want? It kind of makes me want Darwin. Worryingly. I know when you look at Haaland versus Salah this week, Haaland did better, but I prefer Salah's fixture in game week 15. But other shout-outs are, of course, as I say, Haaland. Let's see if he gets a ban for that outburst at the end of the Spurs game and when that'll be. But also, I really like Mbeumo against that unfortunate Brighton defence as an outside pick. Look, honestly, I really wouldn't think too much about this. It would be Salah or Haaland depending on who I owned. And if I owned both, I'd likely edge towards Salah. But if you really want to do something different and you want to be a bit out there, Son or Mbeumo for me are the outside punts this game week. Thanks for watching, Nim fam. I hope this helped. I'll be back tomorrow with a live stream for the deadline, my locked-in stream. Please do me a favour with popping me a like and subscribing to the channel. Do hit that notification bell. It will tell you when I'm going live, Nim fam. I am on the road to 10k and you are really helping me out. Until next time, Nimfria out.